Well, I can tell you there's many theories that there's actually other races that live here on the Earth. Not necessarily physically, but in another dimension, but overlaid right where we are, including underground. So, I wouldn't say they're necessarily physical in the ground,
Yeah.
but they say that overlaid is a parallel dimension right here where we are. I'm Rob Freeman, UFO World Explorer. I'm here in Death Valley looking for other dimensions. So here at Badwater, this part here was like that, except that it's been all trampled down, and it's all the salts. There's an underground river that comes through, and it actually comes out of the mountain here. When it's raining, it flows out here, and it all dries up, and all the salts come to the surface. And that's the white that you see.
So Tim, this is one of our favorite spots, obviously, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us where we are exactly and what the importance is of this location?
We are actually standing in the Badwater Basin right now. We're 282 feet below sea level. And it's just really neat when you look at the side of the mountain, you can see the sea level sign and realize that you're underwater, essentially.
Essentially underwater.
But what makes this place really neat is this is the terminus, the end of the Amargosa Underground River, which starts north of us in Beatty, flows all the way down, follows the 127, California 127 corridor, takes a big turn over at Dumont Dunes, and comes right back here, and this is where it ends. So we don't know if it continues or what. All we know is this is where we lose the river.
Okay, so there's a couple of things you said there. One is it's underground.
Yes.
So here we go. Now, Rob, one of the things is that this multi-dimensions of Death Valley, and here we've got Tim talking about an underground river. An underground river. And that has a lot of implications. I mean, any thoughts in your mind about that?
Well, I can tell you there's many theories that there's actually other races that live here on the Earth. Not necessarily physically, but in another dimension, but overlaid right where we are, including underground. So, I wouldn't say they're necessarily physical in the ground.
Yeah.
But they say that overlaid is a parallel dimension right here where we are.
So this is also an interesting place for some other reasons Tim had told me about. And apparently there are some historical links to possible sightings of some kind. Tell us about that, Tim.
In 1949, the Barstow newspaper ran an article which ended up being syndicated throughout the United States about two prospectors from the Badwater area that witnessed a UFO crash. The UFO supposedly crashed in this area, and then they chased, unfortunately they don't say what direction, the people who were piloting the craft into the sand dunes. So I don't know if they ran them towards Mesquite Dunes north of us or to Ibex Dunes south of us. I'm actually going to assume Ibex Dunes because they're closer to this area than Mesquite Dunes are. But they chased them for many, many, many miles. Now, the story is kind of interesting in the sense it happened in 1949.
This is post-Roswell or pre-Roswell?
This is post.
Post-Roswell.
Yes, good.
Okay.
Because Roswell happened in 1947.
47, right.
The other thing is the prospector said Badwater. So what were they doing in Badwater? There really wasn't a mine in Badwater. The mines were over here at the Warm Springs Canyon, which is just south of us.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm actually thinking is the crash site might have happened here, and they chased the alien to this area, if this truly happened, or they did comment at the end of the article, it was 135 degrees down here, maybe a little bit too much alcohol and a little bit too much sun, but it kind of
saw an alien. But
it does play into that the natives down here have a tradition that speaks about a mid-air collision of two alien aircraft. That when one fell to the ground, it was left, and about a couple days later, another craft came by, landed, repaired it, and both crafts take off.
Wow. Any thoughts on that, Rob?
Well, it's very possible in our travels around the world, in very unique areas, alien craft seem to visit. Different areas that are special, they seem to check out. Whether they're doing research, don't know. But this is a very, significant area in terms of the geography and the material here. Is it possible that they were wanting to use the salt? Don't know.
It's very noticeable too, right? I mean, if you were a aircraft of any kind flying over this, you're going to notice this big white splotch.
Looks like a big landing pad.
Looks like a big landing pad, right?
Yeah, so you have a lot of people that, so you've had natives that actually believe that or said that they have came across these people. One of them of a tradition talks about a chief who lost his wife. He was so grief-stricken, he went into the mountains looking for the people. He finally came across the people, and knowing that they're great weapons, tried to convince them to kill him.
Over our travels, we've heard many stories about depictions and stories from the Bible relating to UFOs or ETs. Because once again, the peoples of the time when these stories are written can only relate to what they know. I mean, ancient peoples, not so ancient, but when we started having ships with sails, native people would describe ships with sails. Because they'd seen the newcomers into America with ships and sails, so they do talk about ships with sails in the sky. I mean, you can only relate to the things that you know of the time that you've experienced.